Hey, all you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here, and welcome to another Thursday edition of TNI News, or live edition, I guess you could say. I've got a couple of things I want to do tonight. I got a new package from Big Bad Toy Store I thought I would open up tonight, plus talking some G.I. Joe Classified. I got some info, some updated info on this month's pre-orders for again GI Joe Classified. There'll be three different pre-order drops, so I don't have like where I can tell you everything that's going to go up for pre-order, but just a little more kind of an idea of what we can expect to see this month. Then also, we got the new Black Widow Marvel Legend pre-order today, with which apparently, according to Dan Yun, we are going to be getting Target exclusive Marvel Legend pre-orders every Thursday this month. So that's kind of interesting. And then let's see what else. Oh, and then of course McFarlane Toys was teasing their new Blue Beetle movie figures today. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that. So let's see who's in the house tonight. We got Michael is in the house. So welcome. T Glue, summer movie season is pretty great. Yeah, I am I saw Shazam finally this past weekend on HBO Max. Well, sorry, Max. I thought it was okay. Yeah, I'm glad I waited for home release and didn't go to the theater to see it, but I didn't think it was too bad. I am going to see the Flash movie actually this coming Monday, so I'm going to an advanced screening of it. So I'll be writing a review of it pretty much right after I see it. The review embargo was this past Tuesday, so once I see it, I'll be able to write the review. So I'm going to see that this coming Monday. Um, I am probably not going to go see Transformers in the movie theater. I'm probably going to wait for that to come out on Paramount Plus. I just have not been a huge fan of the live action Transformer movies, and I've been hearing some good, but I would say probably more bad than good for that movie. So, and I've never been a huge Beast Wars fan, so that one I definitely think I'm going to wait and watch from home. Neil says, I tuned out the Shazam movie when very quickly they tried to inject wokeness. Uh, I don't really recall a lot of wokeness in the movie, but okay. I thought I thought the CGI was probably the weakest thing about it. The dragon was pretty kind of looked pretty bad overall. Um, and then like to me like the post credit scene was kind of pointless because I don't think anything's gonna come of that. Yes, Michael, a spoiler free review. I've as far as Flash, I've been hearing some mixed results on that one too. I mean, right now mostly we just have the big entertainment website reviews that have gone up. So, and those have been kind of mixed. T-Glue, they normally do have the post-credit scenes. I think one time I went to an advanced screening and it didn't have the post-credit scene, but I think I haven't watched it, but I believe the post-credit scene for The Flash has already leaked out online. So I've stayed away from it, but I think it's already leaked out online. Neo Across the Spider Verse. I've not seen that one yet either, but I have actually not heard anything bad about that movie. All the people who've said they've seen it said they really liked it. So, um, yeah, that one sounds like it ended up being pretty. I mean, I like the first one. I just I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the animation style, to be honest. I mean, it's okay, but that's probably the thing I like the least about it. But I like the characters. I like the story in the first one. So, this one will probably be, I think I'll probably enjoy this one. I don't know. I just didn't really feel like going to the theater to see it, though. I feel like that's another one I can wait for home release. But as far as, what people have been saying about it, it definitely seems to have been getting a good good vibes. Philly, what about? I assume you're talking about the GI Joe movie. If there is a GI Joe post credit scene, I'll just have to wait for it. You know, if there's been anything less impressive to me than a live action Transformer movie, unfortunately, it's been a live action GI Joe movie. So, you know, them combining the two is not really got me terribly excited if those rumors end up being true. Yeah, I saw that a while ago where Tom Cruise said he loved the Flash movie. And of course, you know, James Gunn said it was a great movie. Ruben, what's up, man? I'm doing good. How you doing? 3M. You know, I don't know how, but I seriously doubt that's gonna be. I mean, I'm going for Michael Keaton Batman. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not going for the Flash. I'm not going for Ezra Miller. I'm not going for the future of the DCU because I don't think this movie is gonna hold much future for the DCU. I'm just simply going to see, you know, Michael Keaton probably in action one last time as Batman. Um, and that's really it. So as long as they give me a good performance of that, I'll be happy. Everything else, you know, I just don't think there's going to be much to it. So, but yes, that cameo that is supposed to be in the movie, I think will be interesting. But honestly, you know, to me, it's less about how it is in the movie, and I just want an action figure. If that cameo is in the movie, McFarlane better give us an action figure. That's all I'm saying. Ruben, right now we got off onto summer movies. What's up, Road Pig John? Welcome. All right, so before we start talking about like the latest toy news, as I mentioned, I got a package. This just arrived yesterday. A package from Big Bad Toy Store. So I thought I would go and open this up. I think we got some goodies in here. So I got myself the Masters of the Universe Masterverse Clawful figure, another deluxe figure. The New Eternia version. I feel like New Eternia is basically just the modern word for classics. And then also the New Eternia version of Ram Man. So this one I've actually been looking forward to. I haven't watched any reviews or anything, but I'm curious. You know, does he have an actual ramming type function or? And then finally, the GI Joe classified rock and roll. So unfortunately, this is the only recent classified figure to come in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. I was hoping I'd actually been sitting on these, you know, my pile of loot, hoping that the other recent classified figures, the Copperhead, Torpedo, and Scrap Iron, would come in stock because those are actually the ones. I mean, I got nothing against rock and roll, but he's never been like a favorite of mine. So, out of the recent batch that's been seeing release, rock and roll was probably the one I was least excited for. But unfortunately, those others have yet to come in stock. So I was like, screw it, I'll just go on and pay the $4 and have them sent. So I'm gonna open these up real quick just to take a quick look, give you some brief thoughts. So first, actually, I want to open up. I'm gonna open up Ram Man first because. I gotta say, I probably Classified and Masterverse are two of the lines I've been collecting the most figures from recently. So he's got like this rubber material over his legs, but he doesn't like have any kind of spring action. So I'm a little disappointed with that. I didn't think he did, but I was hoping maybe they would incorporate something like that into the figure. But yeah, he's definitely taller than most Ram Man figures. You know, Ram Man usually ends up being short and stout. So this one is a little bit taller. For a minute, I thought the head maybe went up and down, but no. I mean, it goes back and forth, but it doesn't like have any kind of spring action. So, all right. So now we'll open up rock and roll here. I don't know who it is on the GI Joe design team that seems to really dig tattoos, but you know they really went all out on the tattoos with rock and roll. Including the mouth one on his hand. And of course, with the GI Joe figures, you get the accessories in this little weapons container packaging with the Cobra GI Joe tissue paper. For a minute, I was like, wow, this gun looks weird. And then I was like, oh, wait, they stuck a piece of cardboard on. I guess to prevent it from getting bent up. It's weird how the gun is black and the stands are green. I would have thought they would have made them all the same color. I can't. uh, It doesn't seem like the stands are easily removable, so I don't want to force it and break it. You do get the bullets though. Salome is here helping me with the accessories. I do like how they gave you long bullets, but then they also gave you short ones. And then the little ammo box, which I assume clips onto the side of the gun, but I'm not sure. Oh wait, yeah, there we go. So yeah. Then they gave him a walkie-talkie, which you can stick on the back of his belt. He does not come with any kind of backpack. I can't remember if the original toy had a backpack or not. He's got a helmet. But like Rock and Roll never wears his helmet, so I can only think of one episode of the cartoon with Rock and Roll in it, and it's the one where Roadblock goes to see his grandparents who opened up a restaurant, the Red Rocket restaurant or something like that. It had rockets on the top of the buildings, which Cobra ended up buying. And then putting real rockets on the top of the buildings. Oh, and he's got a pistol too, and a holster. I'm still trying to decide whether I like this added kind of cream green color on his shirt. You know, the original figure was all just solid green. So it gives it a little extra, texturing to it, but I don't know. And I don't know. I feel like they overdid it with the tattoos. I mean, the original figure didn't have any tattoos. I feel like maybe the one on the hand would have been enough, but like complete arm tattoos on both arms, I don't know. I just feel like I know he's supposed to be like a surfer dude. Now you could also stick. He's got a hole in the front of his belt as well, so if you want to stick that walkie-talkie on the front, you could as well. But I think it works better on the back. So not a bad figure. Um, just not like a hugely favorite character of mine. So his eyes. I know it looks like maybe he's been out drinking a little too much. I don't know how well you can see his eyes. I don't know. Or maybe smoking one too many joints before going on active duty. All right, well, enough of that. Let me finish going through who's in the house tonight. CJ says, yeah, I didn't, like I said, I didn't think he did. I think he would have been shorter and stouter if they were going to give him like the rant, the spring action in the legs. But I was kind of hoping this material on his legs. I mean, if they had given him springs, I could understand them using this material, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. Not sure why they didn't just make this plastic unless they were just wanting to hide the knee joints or something. But I always get wary with rubber type material like this because I always feel like over time it's going to stretch and rip and stuff. So Guess just something to be wary of. Lake says, for me, back in the day, rock and roll always belonged on the Ram cycle. Yeah, for me, it was always Stalker that I had on the Ram cycle, so. CJ says he wants a Masterverse Tila. Did you not get the second, more classic Tila that they released in the line? CJ, no. Okay, no. Yeah, I did. I couldn't remember on Rock and Roll. Like almost all of them came with backpacks, but I couldn't remember one for Rock and Roll, so that's why I was like, did he come with one? But yeah, that makes sense. 3M says wants Black Widow, but not enough to pay $27.99 for. I mean, it comes with 3 head sculpts. It's pretty much got all the accessories that we've seen with previous Black Widow figures. I ended up getting one. I was kind of on the fence. I was waiting to see like better images because up until today we'd only seen when they had it on their live stream. So it was like, I'm gonna wait and see. But it's got the pinless technology. Hopefully, hopefully the legs won't be super gummy, so the knees won't start to collapse in on themselves. And I decided to pick it up. But yeah, I mean, based on today's prices, I don't think that's too bad. But I on the second hand, this will be like I want to say my fourth This will be my fourth comic book based Black Widow figure I think I've gotten in the Marvel Legend line, and that doesn't even include MCU versions. So. Power Tours, no real Ghostbuster merch, etc. for Ghostbusters. Yeah, well, let's be honest. Ghostbusters Day is a marketing day made up. But yeah, I mean, Hasbro is not going to start doing Ghostbuster stuff until they get closer to the movies. So, I mean, but they didn't even give us like a teaser trailer or anything. I saw a video they put up, like they got the new cast just telling people happy Ghostbusters Day or something, and then they had like Dan Aykroyd and 2 of the other original cast members, not Bill Murray, but the others, and they were like, happy Ghostbusters Day, and that was it. I mean, if you're gonna make up a marketing day for your brand, and it seems like that's what everybody does, like everything has its own day now, but yeah, you probably should have something more exciting out there for it if you want people to get hyped for it. Like, yeah, and that's still probably my go-to Black Widow figure. Um, but yeah, that gray suited one, a lot of the same accessories I think that came with that one were included in this new one. Michael, you've been waiting for that Disney Plus wave forever. It's just unfortunately, I don't think until some of those shows start to air, I don't think we're gonna see that wave. Yeah, that one image leaked out through a Korean site, where we got to see little tiny images of them, but Jerry says, I found a lot of Ghostbuster merch at Ollie's. Well, I mean, those Plasma series figures did not seem to sell very well, so yeah, I can't say I blame Hasbro for not putting a ton of, trying to put out product when there's no movie to back it up, because, I mean, like I say, those Plasma series figures just kind of sat there on the pegs. Now, to be fair, it's like how many different companies have already given us the original Ghostbusters in figure form, so I feel like it's kind of like been overdone. I know. I mean, I would be great if Hasbro started doing, based on the animated series, but they seem not to be wanting to do that. So I don't know. The only thing I'm surprised they didn't do was do an actual 6-inch scale Ecto one for the plasma figures. I would have thought when the last movie came out, they would have tried to. They did that one that they put the plasma series name on it, but that thing wasn't in scale with 6-inch figures. Quantumania Kang arrives on Tuesday. Congrats, man. I have not gotten any of the figures in that wave. No, I did not see the latest Fast X movie, so that's another one that to be honest, I have not watched. I can't remember if it's the last two or the last one that I've not watched. I mean, I've never. I like the first Fast and the Furious movie with The Rock, the first one he came on board, but then I felt like it started to kind of go downhill again. So I'm not a huge Fast and the Furious fan in general. And I hear The Rock is coming back for the next one, even though like, Vin Diesel and The Rock can't stand each other. But yeah, Mr. Cheeseburger, that is not going to happen. I mean, one day we could see Mass, but they're not going to stop doing Marvel Legends and Star Wars and things like that and start doing Mask. 3M, Fast and the Furious movies are just porn for the adrenaline junkies. Fast and the Furious to me set that trend where each movie you have to have a more and more of an outrageous stunt in it, and it just gets to the point where you get so ridiculous that it just becomes preposterous. I mean, I know some people like that stuff, but I just feel like when the stunts and such become the focus of the movie, I don't know, it's just not that good to me. 3M, yeah. I didn't read the full article, but I saw a headline saying that The Rock has been having difficulties getting work in Hollywood ever since the Black Adam fiasco. I don't necessarily know if it had to do with the movie not doing so great at the box office and it having to do more with the power play that went on behind the scenes, um, where I feel like maybe some people ended up blackballing him. A T glue. No, I mean no. I mean predictions. Like what do I think? Yes, I think Airborne will be one. If they don't include Airborne as one of the Dragonfly stretch goals, that's going to be. I mean, he's on the artwork of the original Dragonfly copter, so you got to include Airborne. If you're going to give us Wild Bill, you got to include Airborne. So I would be shocked if Airborne is not one of the three stretch goals. I really don't know what the third one might be. If we're assuming they're all going to be action figures, I wouldn't be shocked if they did something like a flight crew or mechanic for the helicopter. They seem to like to do that. Uh, where they kind of make up generalized figures as like part of the flight crew. So they did that with the Sky Striker, and they kind of did that with the His Tank. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up making up some kind of figure like that as one of the stretch goals. Um, but I don't know if I mean I know in their teasers it kind of looks like they're all action figures, but I don't know if that actually is supposed to mean that all three stretch goals are actual action figures or not. So I don't know, but I definitely think that Airborne should be one of the three stretch goals. Blake, Doc. I mean, I certainly would love to see a Doc figure. I'd probably rather see him in a general release. But the thing, I mean, I guess you could throw anybody in there, but I don't really think of Doc when I think of the Dragonfly. So somebody was telling me earlier today, Lifeline, and if it was like the Tomahawk, then I could see like them doing a Lifeline figure. But the Dragonfly is not a rescue copter. It's not like it's not a passenger copter. It's basically it's for combat. So I don't feel like Doc would be a good choice for a tier on the Dragonfly. Lift if Hasbro doesn't think they're ever going to get around to doing a 6-inch classified Tomahawk helicopter, then I could possibly see them doing like lift ticket as well, just to get him in there. But I don't know. But I almost, if I'm just gonna make a wild prediction, I'm gonna say Ripcord, the Night Force Ripcord, uh, Airborne, hopefully a regular version of Airborne, and then some type of flight crew member for the helicopter, like a mechanic or something like that, for the Dragonfly, something kind of made up that wasn't done as an actual original figure. That's that's kind of what I'm thinking. But who knows? Mr. Cheeseburger Hawk version 1, you mean from the comics? Because he never showed up like that. Well, he's always had blonde hair. Well, almost always. But I assume when you say version 1, meaning like how he appeared in the comics in like more of a just a standard military outfit, or I mean, his appearance in the cartoon, like in the GI Joe movie and stuff, the cartoon movie and stuff. I mean that's coming in the regular line. While I understand Lifeline's purpose, why recruit a pacifist in the Special Forces group like GH? Well, more specifically, why would somebody who's a pacifist join the military, period? But it sounded kind of interesting. I think it was more, oh, it sounds interesting. Holland says, for all you G.I. Joe fans, go watch the new Transformers movie. John says he's excited for Rise of the Beast because it was partially filmed in his country. Yeah, definitely that one will not be a tier. I don't think General Hawk will be a tier, period, but I mean there's nobody when it comes I mean some like a character besides Wild Bill and Airborne. I mean even Ripcord I don't really associate with the Dragonfly. Um he's a Halo jumper, so to me that's more, would go along the lines with like a jet or some type of transport ship. But you don't probably do a lot of halo jumping out of a helicopter like a Dragonfly. So that one to me is kind of a stretch. But uh but Airborne, and then like I said, I guess they could pick any. But if they're gonna go with an established character as like the third stretch goal, then Lift Ticket would be my bet because he's a helicopter pilot, and I don't know what the chances are that we'll ever see a Tomahawk in the 6-inch classified line. So I feel like that could be a way for them to get a Lift Ticket, and then you could just, if you bought more than one Dragonfly, then you could have Lift Ticket fly one of them and Wild Bill fly the other. Like, oh yeah, I remember that movie. Yeah, you're right. And I think I won't swear to it, but I think that was supposed to be based on a true story. So I guess it does. CJ, I would think we eventually will see a regular release Ripcord, but who knows? I mean, I feel like if they weren't going to give us a regular release Ripcord in the line, they would have just thrown him in. You know, otherwise, I don't see why they would have done the Night Force version with the Dragonfly. I mean, to be absolutely honest, I was a little surprised they went with the, you know, the colors they did on Wild Bill. I would have almost thought they would have given us like animated series colors for the HasLab uh, Wild Bill, and then done the regular version in the line down the road. But maybe they thought that this was gonna make the Dragonfly sell better, so that's why they stuck this one in. But it will be interesting to see if they give us Wild Bill like Ripcord. I feel like they will with the regular version, but like since this is essentially the regular version of Wild Bill, it'll be interesting to see if they try and work Wild Bill into the line, you know, into the regular line down the road. Okay, so let's talk while we're on the subject of GI Joe Classified. So I just wanted to share. Um, I've been doing some digging to see, you know, what we could expect to go up for pre-order. You know, this month there's three different pre-order drop dates. So I still don't have specifics for you. Like I can't tell you exactly what's going to drop on this day and what's going to drop on. Um, but what I can tell you, and I'm just trying to find, I want to make sure I give you the right information. Okay, so the three dates are June 14th, June 21st, and June 28th. So those are the 3 days this month where we can expect new G.I. Joe Classified pre-orders. So if you caught my news video yesterday, I told you how it looked like for this first drop date on June 14th, we were only going to see two figures go up for pre-order. So that remains true. And again, I can't tell you what specific figures, but what I can tell you is the way it looks like they're going to work this is, you know, each regular wave comes with 5 figures. They don't always ship all together, but essentially the way they break these out are 5 figure waves. So they are essentially are going to break up this next wave, which is like the third wave for this year. They're going to break it up throughout the 3 days this month. So on June 14th, we are going to get one of the figures from the wave, and then a fan channel exclusive is going to be going up for pre-order. So fan channel exclusive, for those not familiar, just means it's only going to be available at specialty online e-tailers like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. Amazon maybe would carry it. They sometimes carry those and sometimes they don't. So I don't know if Amazon will carry it. But so one regular wave figure, which will, you know, is a general release, and then one fan channel exclusive will be going up on June 14th. Then on June 21st, we can expect 3 figures to go up for pre-order, and that will be 2 of the figures from the wave, two of the 5 figures from the wave, and then what is listed as a deluxe figure. Now, you know, Hasbro has broken up their deluxe category, so you know, I think it can mean anything from a 2-pack to an animal, you know, a figure with an animal, to a figure like Snow Job that's got just like a lot of accessories and stuff. So 3 figures that will be coming on the 21st, and then finally on the 28th, we can expect the remaining 2 figures, you know, from the 5 figure wave. So again, I don't have specifics. Now I am speculating. The rest I'm about to tell you is just purely my speculation. So Hasbro has released digital renders for, and let me actually, just so you all can follow along at home. Okay, so this is a checklist that I made up that you can find on the site, and it's actually, high res. So if you wanted to download this as wallpaper, you could. Um, okay, so as far as figures that have not yet gone up for pre-order, but that we've gotten digital renders for, we've got the second version of Firefly. We've got Low Light. We've got Grunt. We've got the Crimson Viper, and we have Tunnel Rat. So just based on the fact that these are figures that we've gotten digital renders for, I'm thinking these are the 5 figures that are going to be in the next wave. I don't think Lowlight would be a deluxe figure. I mean, he does have the big case and stuff, but I guess maybe he could end up being a deluxe figure, but I feel like he's probably gonna be a regular release. So, and again, this is just my speculation, but I'm thinking those are and I know there's been some rumored lists that are floating around out there. So, and the rumored list is not those 5, but like the rumored list has like a General Hawk figure, and we've not seen a digital render. I don't think we're going to see something go up for pre-order that we haven't seen a digital render for. Now, the only caveat with that is, it's possible Hasbro could release more digital renders before these pre-order dates come. So, that's always possible. But I think Agent Helix was another one on those lists. But right now, the 5 I just named, the Low Light, the Grunt, the Crimson Viper, and the Tunnel Rat, are all the ones that we've gotten, and the Firefly version 2 are all the ones that we've gotten digital renders for. Now, as far as the deluxe figure, so possibly, if it's possible, this Low Light, in my opinion, could end up being a deluxe figure, maybe. But my feeling is, well, my initial feeling is that perhaps the deluxe figure that was going to be going up was going to be the Steel Core 2-pack. That's another one we've got a digital render. But as I understand it, all the figures that will be going up for pre-order this month are single releases. So um, that would rule out the Steel Core 2-pack being the deluxe figure. The only other thing I could think of for a deluxe figure that has not gone up for pre-order, we have not gotten a digital render for yet, but it is the Mutton Junkyard. So, again, it's possible, before the 21st, when the deluxe figure goes up for pre-order, it's possible Hasbro could release a digital render. If we see a digital render here soon of Mutton Junkyard, then that's probably going to be the figure that goes up for pre-order on the 21st. But we'll have to wait and see. And then as far as the fan channel one goes, I really do not know. Supposedly the only other figure we've gotten a digital render for is the Shadow Tracker, but supposedly that's going to be a Walmart exclusive. You know, it if by chance that ended up being wrong, I could see that being the fan channel exclusive, but at this point, it's probable that we have not seen a digital render for whatever the fan channel exclusive that is supposed to be going up. But that's supposed to be going up next week on the 14th. So if it's not one of these figures we've already seen a digital render for, then Hasbro's going to probably want to put that digital render out here very soon. So again, we'll have to wait and see. But the main news that I can tell you for sure is the way the pre-orders this month, the main line. Now there could be additional, if there's any additional like store specific exclusives that might be going up for pre-order this week or this month, I don't have that information. But as far as like mainline online at places like Big Bad and Entertainment and such. This is how things are going to break down. Again, we've got on the 14th, we're gonna have one regular figure, one regular wave figure, and then one fan channel exclusive figure. Then on the 21st, we're gonna have two regular wave figures and a deluxe figure of some kind. And then on the third day, on June 28th, we're gonna get the two remaining regular wave figures. So that's basically, so you can basically expect two pre-orders next week, then three pre-orders on the 21st, and then two pre-orders on the 28th. And then as for the Walmart stuff, probably will not go up until next month. Next month is when the Walmart Collector Con will be. So that's probably when we will see the next round of Walmart exclusives, which will include that Big Ben figure, the Night Force Big Ben, and then I guess probably the Shadow Tracker figure. So next month on those, and we should probably be getting more pre-order. I mean, next month is San Diego Comic-Con, so that's when we're probably going to see a lot of reveals for all the brands from Hasbro and stuff around that time period. Hasbro is supposed to be attending San Diego Comic-Con this month. I don't know if they'll do their reveals online or if they're just going to go back to the old ways of doing them at the conventions. That I don't know, but Jerry, yes, Mutt is the human and Junkyard is the dog. Hey, what's up, Everett? Yeah, yep, pipe, but it usually goes. They give us the pipeline, which is just the name, and then they show us the digital renders. Then the figures go up for pre-order, and then we get the more standardized PR images. When they go up for pre-order. So that's why I don't think you're going to see anything go up for pre-order that we haven't seen digital renders for. So that's why I go back to right now, we've got the figures that we've seen digital renders for but have not gone up for pre-order are the big bet or the tunnel rat figure, the Firefly version 2, the Grunt, the Crimson Viper, which they just showed us last week. So it's like they rushed those out to complete. That's why I feel like they're going to be two of the figures in this next wave, because I feel like they got those out so that they could go on and put them as part of the next wave. So the Grunt and the Crimson Viper, the Firefly version 2, the Tunnel Rat, and the Low Light. That's my prediction of what the next 5-figure wave will be. And then we have the 2-pack, the core, the steel core 2-pack that they've shown us the digital renders for. We've got the Shadow Tracker, which is supposed to be a Walmart exclusive that we've seen the digital render for. And then everything else right now is just pipeline. So if you want to go over the pipelines, which means they've just given us the names. So we've got the Mole Rat, which I still have no idea what that is. That's why you've got the question mark there. But that is something they said was coming. So, something new, I guess, that they've made up. We've got the Snow Serpent is one that they've said is coming. We haven't seen the digital render. We've got Dreadnought Ripper, Dreadnought Buzzer. So I think like Buzzer Ripper will be in the wave after this next one. But we've got Chuckles, which is rumored to be either a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or a Hasbro PulseCon exclusive. We've got Agent Helix. We've got Big Boa. So again, these are all figures we know are coming in the line this year. We just don't know how, when, or where. We've got Quick Kick. General Hawk. Tripwire. Again, the Snow Serpent, the 2 Dreadnoks. And that's it. So those are all the names that we know are coming, but you have yet to see digital renders for. And the Mutt and Junkyard, like I said before. Michael, I mean Hasbro, I don't know. Um, we may not see another live stream until next month. Again, San Diego Comic Con's next month, so they're probably going to be holding up most of their reveals for that. That's at least in the past before COVID, that's what they would do. So I don't know if we'll see any more live streams between now and San Diego Comic Con, which I, off the top of my head, I think is like the weekend of July 19th. So Thousand Wolves, dude, who leaked the Dragonfly needs to be interrogated. Well, the guy who, it was a whole. I mean, from what I'm told, one guy got wind of it from another guy who Hasbro had hired to do the design work for it, and then he got mad because he felt like he was stiffed, and so he leaked out the information and cost the one guy his job, or at least getting the. I mean, he wasn't working for. He wasn't a Hasbro employee. He was like a independent contractor, but he ended up losing the job. So I guess they went with somebody else. I mean, if that's all to be believed, that's how it went. But Shumagorath for San Diego Comic Con exclusive. Well, one of the things I mean, Hasbro said they will be at San Diego, but the last couple of years, Hasbro has not had San Diego Comic Con exclusives at San Diego. I mean, they were at San Diego last year, but they didn't have any exclusives at the convention last year. Just like the year before, it was like you could pre-order them there, but then everybody got them shipped later in the year at the same time. So I don't know if they'll actually have Comic Con exclusives on hand to sell at the convention this year, or if they'll continue to do the we'll take pre-orders at the convention and then we'll ship everything out at the end of the year. Well, Hasbro now, because there's nothing to retrieve from the leaker. The word already is out, and I guess he wasn't even under an and if he didn't sign any kind of NDA, then it's nothing Hasbro could do anyway. And some states don't even honor NDAs. Like I don't even think California honors NDAs. So, but in the case of those cards, those are actual physical items in somebody's house that Hasbro wanted back. Thousand, well, I doubt it. They don't usually do live streams for just a tier. Um, I definitely don't think we'll see any more GI Joe live streams until like San Diego Comic Con time. If they show off more renders, it'll be just like they did with the Grunt and the Crimson Viper, where they just stick it up on their social media. That's my guess anyway. Remember that it's this campaign ends on July 17th. The Star Wars HasLab campaign is going to begin uh like the weekend of San Diego Comic Con. So again, like July 19th. So like 2 days after the GI Joe classified HasLab ends, the Star Wars one is going to begin. So like I don't know if they're going to tell us what the Marvel Legend HasLab is at San Diego, since I don't think they're going to launch the. I mean, they could. It would be a mistake in my opinion if they launched the Star Wars and the Marvel Legends HasLabs at the same time. But my guess is they'll launch the Star Wars one next at San Diego, and then the Hasbro one probably will not launch until like August or September. So I don't know if they will tell us what the Marvel one is until they're ready to launch it. They'll probably tease it, but I have a feeling they're not going to actually reveal it until it's ready to launch. And like I said, I would be surprised if they launched both the Marvel Legend one and the Star Wars one at the same time. But we know for sure because they told us the Star Wars one will launch at San Diego Comic Con. Now we don't know what the Star Wars one is. Everyone suspects it will be a vintage collection ghost ship, but Hasbro's not yet told us that for sure. I have no idea what the Marvel Legend one will be. Giant Man's certainly a possibility. I still think a possibility is a new updated Fing Fang Foom, but I have no real idea what the Marvel Legend one's going to be. Coco says, hoping Marvel Legends Mayfex store ships tomorrow. Early reviews say he sucks, but I'm hoping I like it. I've not looked at the early reviews, but it's too bad if he sucks. Well, I think if I think you're right, and I think that's smart. I think it would be a mistake to launch both the Star Wars and the Marvel Legend at the same time. It will be curious to see, you know, right now, Marvel Legends public opinion is, I want to say, in the 20, I've covered Marvel Legends since day one, since the first day Toy Biz launched the line. I've covered them, and I feel like Marvel Legends public opinion online is at an all-time low. Maybe not all-time, because probably not quite as low as it was, the first couple years after Hasbro got their hands on it, because that got really low. But I have not seen Marvel Legend public opinion as low as I've seen it in recent months. This past year, I kind of started with last year's HasLab, and it's just kind of gone downhill since then. So I feel like this year's HasLab really, there's going to be a lot of pressure on this year's HasLab to really be something to wow people and get people excited for Marvel Legends again. And especially being, we know it's Avengers themed, but I'm really like, if I don't think Giant Man is going to be, unless it's like really cheap, if it's like $150 or something or less, then maybe. But like, I don't think Giant Man is going to be, it's not going to have the same kind of excitement to it that a Galactus or a Sentinel had. So if it is Giant Man, I have to wonder how well that's actually going to do. I think a lot of that will depend on price. Um, I go back to Fing Fang Foom. I mean, there were some clues that Hasbro dropped that makes me think Fing Fang Foom, an updated version of that, could be uh, in the cards. But I also feel like that would be much more popular in general with people if it was done well and everything, um, over say like a Giant Man figure. So I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but I one thing I don't think I'm wrong about is that there's a lot of pressure on this year's HasLab that it's really going to have to knock people's socks off, or it very well might not get backed again. I think the Star Wars one, the vintage, if it is the vintage collection Ghost Ship, again, if it's done well, I think that has a decent shot at getting backed. I think a lot of vintage collection people um, always have wanted to go since the original Rebels series aired. So that, unless it was like so outrageously expensive, I feel like that has a decent shot at getting backed. Um, Even though, again, just like with Marvel, Star Wars has been kind of, public opinion of Star Wars stuff has been really kind of at an all-time low. So, but I feel like a Ghost Ship, the downside with Ghost Ship is, I mean, obviously, it seems pretty obvious to me the Ghost Ship will be appearing in the new Ahsoka series, which is probably why they chose to do the Ghost Ship, to tie it in with that. But, a lot of people are going to want the original Rebels cartoon figures, and the only figures has in that scale Hasbro has done are those poorly articulated ones that they had released, back when the cartoon came out, that was, cheaper, for more for the kids. They weren't vintage collection style Rebels figures. So, we've gotten 6-inch Black Series Rebels figures, but we never got really like vintage collection Rebels figures. So I'm curious to see if Hasbro is going to go back and do the original Rebels characters for the vintage collection line, maybe even as part of stretch goals for the campaign, if that's what it ends up being. But um, we'll have to wait and see. But again, going back to Marvel Legends, I'm not convinced a Giant Man figure unless it's really cheap, is going to be popular enough to get funded. Coco says, Marvel Legends make too many unwanted characters and don't use their bucks enough to see. Okay, so let's break that comment down into two parts. So I don't think it's fair to say too many unwanted characters. First of all, Marvel Legends has been around for so long and we've gotten so many figures that, unless Hasbro just wants to keep reissuing the same figures over and over and over again, which that annoys people, they really left with doing these really obscure characters. So, and everybody's got their favorite characters, so it's a very diverse group of collectors that do Marvel Legends. So, you can always, no matter what character they choose, you can always expect there's going to be people who like it and there's going to be people who hate it. And there's just no getting around that, I don't think. As far as the bucks, I mean, that's cost cutting. They're going to use those older bucks as much as they possibly can to get their complete money's worth from them before they completely retire them. So, they're not going to just flip over and start using the most modern bucks with everything. That's just not how the toy industry really works. So um, it sucks, but it just kind of goes par for the course. The good news is, as long as the line continues, you can almost guarantee, especially if it's a popular character, a better version will come out eventually again. I mean, how many times have certain figures been reissued with more modern bucks as the line has gone along? So, but I do think one of the issues Marvel Legends is dealing with right now, a couple problems. So first of all, problem number one that I see is the biggest problem for Marvel Legends right now is Hasbro, as part of the licensing deal with Disney, has to do figures for every Disney property, every Marvel movie, every Marvel series. They have to push out figures and product to promote those things. It's pretty much part of their licensing agreement. So the more movies that come out, the more Disney Plus shows that come out, that means the more figures Hasbro has to try and flood the market with. So that's one reason why in recent years you've been seeing so many more Marvel Legend figures, because we've gotten so many more Marvel movies. I mean, it used to be we might maybe got 2 Marvel movies in a year and that was it. But now we get like 2 or 3 Marvel movies plus umpteen different Disney Plus shows. So that just blows everything out of the water. So that's part of the problem. And then it doesn't help that ever since Avengers Endgame, I think people's interest in MCU has steadily gone down. I don't think there's really much denying that popularity in the MCU movies has gone down, not up, since Avengers Endgame. So that has not helped things either, because people have just become less interested in the MCU stuff. Then, but obviously people would be very upset if Hasbro only did MCU figures and quit doing like the comic book based stuff. So they still have to also put out comic book stuff. And again, because Marvel Legends has been around for so long, they're really starting to have to go so deep and start doing these really obscure characters. Now, I will say, I'm irritated that we've yet to get certain figures to round out teams that Hasbro started years ago. You were still waiting on an X-Force Pharaoh figure and an X-Factor Wolfbane figure. We're still waiting on the remaining members of Excalibur. We're still remaining on the remaining members of Thunderbolts and New Warriors. So, instead of starting Squadron Supreme, it would have been nice if Hasbro had finished out some of these other teams that, again, they started years ago. Now, of course, like Guardians of the Galaxy, they started real long time ago with that first Marvel Boy figure. Um, and, now we're starting to see some more of the original Guardians of the Galaxy. But, you know, but I mean, a line that has been around as long as Marvel. Star Wars is a very similar situation where they've just done so many, they've done all these characters, and there's only so many ways they can release these characters, and so they're really just kind of scraping the bottom, um, trying to come up with ways to re-release some of these same marquee characters and stuff. John Estrada, yeah, yep, she did, and that was probably in large part marketing. You'll see that a lot where they'll change up costumes just for marketing. Oh well, we got to give them a different costume so that we can come up with new marketing products and stuff to put out. Because if Captain America wore the exact same outfit every movie, they couldn't re-release the same figure over and over again. So they got to change up the costume. So they do that with everybody. Everybody gets updated costumes almost every time they come out in a new movie or what have you. And that's, I think, primarily just again marketing so that they can churn out a bunch of new product for that character. Coco, they should well, and that's, if you're a comic fan, that's an easy stance, but there's a lot of people out there who only collect the MCU figures. So you know you got to remember that not everybody views these lines the same way you do. These days, I probably do tend to lean more towards comic than MCU, as I've kind of lost interest in the MCU. But again, I also acknowledge that there are plenty of people out there who, they got into Marvel Legends because of the MCU. You would probably be amazed at how many people have never even picked up a comic, who collect Marvel Legend figures, have never picked up a Marvel comic book in their life, and they started collecting because they were watching the MCU movies. I mean, I haven't read a comic in years, but I used to read comics all the time. But there are people, younger people out there who probably have never picked up a Marvel comic before, and their entire exposure to Marvel comes from the movies and cartoons and stuff. So, there are definitely people out there who, don't like the comic book figures and want to see more MCU stuff than comic book. Neil says, I absolutely agree with you, but I think Across the Spider Verse going on. Well, I mean, Sony has its own sub Marvel universe. I mean, so far, other than the Spider-Man movies, um, have all pretty much bombed. But Sony keeps trying to launch their own universe, and of course, while probably not as quite as important, uh, to do figures of, because Sony is not doesn't actually own the license, but Hasbro still ends up churning out products for all those Sony movies too. So on top of all the MCU stuff, you've also got the Sony stuff. um I mean, there's just a ton of Marvel entertainment property out there these days. I mean, and if you want to be honest, that's probably part of the reason why I think interest in like the MCU in general has kind of gone down, because it's just so much. The studios are really kind of milking this stuff to death, um, which is not uncommon, to see happen with this type of thing. Jerry Masterpiece. It's been 15 years. They haven't completed the Autobots. Oh, they haven't completed the Decepticons either. And they keep jumping around. We're getting the Hoist figure, which, I don't mind Hoist, but I'd rather see like Jazz or some of the other original G1 Autobots before seeing Hoist. But, we've already gotten a lot of those second generation G1. So, but yeah, I mean, being that only one Masterpiece figure comes out a year, maybe two, it's going to be a long time before we ever get those completed, if ever. We didn't get Morbius. We got a few comic book stuff for Morbius. Hasbro kind of threw out there, but I don't know if it's. I can't remember what Morbius was rated, but I want to say it was maybe rated R. I don't know, and so that might have prevented them from doing more Morbius stuff. And let's be honest, Did anyone think the Morbius movie had any chance of being a success? I mean, most of the Sony movies, again, outside of the actual Spider-Man movies, have not been that great. So, Everett, Fantastic. I don't see them doing Fantastic Four from 2005. You know, if or when we see the Fantastic Four in the MCU, then we'll get modern Fantastic Four. But I don't see a huge chance that they're going to go back and do. You know, the X-Men was a kind of a unique thing. X-Men are super popular, and the X-Men movies, the first couple were really popular. So I think that's why they did that. But I don't see them going back and doing uh, Fantastic Four, you know, from the old Fox Fantastic Four movies. You know, they did some figures from those back in the day when those movies came out, but but Jerry, the Morbius movie's been out, like, I think that's on Netflix now. I don't know what I don't remember what that movie was rated. It was at least PG-13. I don't think it was a PG movie. And what about today's announcement of a new Wolverine versus Predator comic book series? See, that would be a cool movie if they ever did something like that. That would be an interesting a live action movie to see. Like Wolverine, like if they get Hugh Jackman Wolverine versus a Predator, that would be pretty cool. I don't see how a Predator has any chance against Wolverine, but it would still make for a pretty cool movie. But I mean, think about it. Predator's invisibility would mean nothing to Wolverine because he could just smell the Predator when he's nearby. The Predator could injure Wolverine, but Wolverine would just heal back up. Wolverine's claws are going to outmatch the Predator's claws. So I just don't think the Predator would have a chance against Wolverine. Kyle says, yeah, that'd be a short movie, Predator. The only way the Predator would win is if the Predator got like a cheap shot in with his laser and like just blew Wolverine's head off before Wolverine knew what was happening. That's really the only way I could see the Predator winning. Jerry says Carnage and yeah, it wasn't great. I didn't think the first Venom movie was fantastic. A lot of you guys liked that first Venom movie a lot more than I did. All right, last subject of the night I think we will talk about is the new McFarlane Blue Beetle movie figures. So we got two revealed today. Well, previewed, I should say. So we got the regular Blue Beetle figure. So again, these are based on the upcoming movie. That looks pretty good. And then this guy, which is a mega fig, Carapax. So I'm not really familiar with this character, but he looks like a cool figure. And again, this is a mega figure. Now based on overseas listings, there should be a a battle mode Blue Beetle figure coming. So I don't know how that's going to differ from the regular version. And then there's a 12-inch like statue like Blue Beetle coming, but the two main ones are the two they showed today, the Blue Beetle himself and then this guy. 3M says, as much as I have no interest in the movie, I do want to see the Carapax figure. Yeah, Blue Beetle is definitely another movie. I mean, the trailer for Blue Beetle didn't look too bad, but just like with Shazam, just like with Flash, just like with Aquaman, I really don't think James Gunn has much plans for any of these Snyderverse tied in characters going forward after the Flash, after this last batch of movies come out. I think the only reason why they're hyping them is because they're hoping you go to the theater. But I mean, that's what screwed Shazam was James Gunn came out and basically said, "Yeah, we're done with all these Snyderverse movies," and basically saying, there's really no point in going to see any of these movies that we've already made because we're pretty much done with these things. So, they kind of backtracked shortly afterwards, but I feel like Shazam would have done better at the box office if James Gunn hadn't like started saying that kind of stuff. Because in my view, I think James Gunn just wants to start fresh with his own stuff and not have to worry about all these things that came before it. So, um, again, I'm gonna go see the Flash movie, but I'm not really expecting much to come from it. I'm just going to see Michael Keaton Batman, and I have no interest in wanting to see that second Aquaman movie. So that one I'll be lucky if I even watch on Max. And then, like I said, the Blue Beetle movie looked okay, but just like with Shazam, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So I'm pretty much at the point with DC. I'll wait when the James Gunn stuff starts to come out. I'll see what he does. I'll see how this new Superman movie is going to be. But I'm kind of like, how many times do I need to see Superman rebooted? It's getting kind of old. Same thing with Batman. Um, so I don't know, but going back to these McFarlane figures, they look pretty cool. So even if the movie doesn't do great, these figures might be worth picking up. Now I have no idea when these figures are going to come out. It's probably still going to be a little while. Yep, Blue Beetle was originally planned for HBO Max, along with that Batgirl movie that got completely scrapped. Jerry says his issue with it was those three wizard ladies. I mean, my issue with Shazam was I thought it was an okay movie for what it was, but I really wanted to see like a build up to Shazam versus Black Adam, which obviously isn't ever going to happen. I would have liked to have seen Shazam, have a connection with the Justice League, but again, that's not likely going to happen. So I just like, it was okay, but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't like, oh, this knocks my socks off. It was okay. Like I said, I'm glad I waited for home release. I'm glad I didn't go to the theater and spend money to watch it. I'm glad I was able just to watch it from my house. But Mr. Almighty, well, I don't know. I feel like it sounded like it was going to be cool and it was going to have Michael Keaton Batman in it, and that was what really interested me the most about that movie. But I feel like for them to have totally scrapped it and wasted all that money, it must have been pretty bad. I mean, they didn't, nobody came out and said that per se, but I feel like that movie must not have been that good for them to. I mean, because they lost a lot of money. I know they like said it. Oh well, it's a tax write off or something like that. But I feel like they probably ate a lot of money on that one. Black Adam. I agree. Well, he was supposed to be. I think the post credit scene where they had the two guys from the Peacemaker series come and find Shazam. I think that was supposed to be Black Adam, but The Rock throwing his temper tantrum refused to do it. So, but I think originally he was supposed to have a cameo in the Shazam movie. Sherry says DC should hire the Russo brother. I think the real problem with DC is they just have no faith in their character. Like the executives at Warner Brothers have no real faith in their characters. So the moment those movies don't, like, they basically went into it thinking these movies were all going to do as well as like the MCU. And the thing about the MCU, especially in the early days, is they had a plan and they took the time to build out the universe. They didn't start with they didn't start with the Avengers. They took the time to really establish each of those characters that would become the Avengers, even though a lot of those characters weren't well known at the time that those movies came out. I mean, Iron Man's kind of a household name now, but if you think about it, back before the first Iron Man movie came out, he was well known within the realms of comic book readers, but he was not known like Spider-Man or the X-Men. So, it's because of those early movies that those characters became so well known among the general populace. And they took the time to really kind of flush those characters out. Whereas DC was like, "Oh, let's start with the Justice League and then we'll start doing other movies." And that was a bonehead move. But to me, it's because the executives don't have any faith in their characters, and so they don't want to take the time to really build them out. And if the movie's not a huge box office success, they're ready to scrap it and start over again. And I think they've just done that too many times, and they've lost the faith of their fandom that it's going to be really hard to get that back. I'm not even sure James Gunn is going to be able to do it. So Tiglu says, think the I don't know. I mean, Henry Cavill was a nobody until he became Superman. Nobody knew who Henry Cavill was when that first Superman movie came out. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna go try and bring in some big name movie star to play Superman. I think they'll probably go with somebody relatively new. And I mean, since this is supposed to be a young Superman, I think that definitely gonna go with somebody new and young. All right, well, it's about 8:30, so I think we're going to call it a wrap tonight, but as always, guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight, listening to me ramble about things. Let's actually real quick, I just want to check in. I meant to do this when we were talking about GI Joe. So right now we're at 11,915, so just a little under 1,100 to go before Ripcord is unlocked. I'm thinking it's slowed up enough now. I think we're probably not going to get to 13,000 till the weekend. It might even take until Sunday, which, if that happens, we probably won't see the second stretch go revealed until next week. I was hoping we would get to 13,000 before the weekend, but it's slowed down enough that I think it's probably going to take the rest of the week to get to 13,000. But hopefully early next week we will get the second stretch goal revealed. And I won't say 100%, but I probably I did a giveaway for the His Tank, and I did a giveaway for the Sky Striker. So probably we'll end up doing a giveaway here within the next few weeks for a Dragonfly. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so let's wrap it up here. But hopefully you got some useful information out of tonight's live stream. I probably should be back tomorrow with another news video. Hopefully you've been checking out. I've done since last week's live stream, I've done 4 news videos since last week's live stream, so hopefully you guys are checking those out. But yeah, thanks for dropping in. Have a great weekend. If I don't see you tomorrow by some chance, and stay safe out there. Until next time, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.